Coaches, welcome back to Wisdom on Wednesdays. This is episode number 2. My name is Jeff Jordan. Last week, episode 1, we went on building relationships. Very crucial that coaches build good, solid relationships with their wrestlers as well as the wrestling team. Not only those relationships, are they 2 or 3 years, we're talking lifelong relationships. This week, episode number 2 is about the 3 ingredients that every wrestler needs to be successful. And again, how the coach can play an impact on helping those wrestlers gain those 3 ingredients. Let's go through the first one. I think the first thing a wrestler needs to be successful in the sport of wrestling is he has to be technically sound. He's got to know some technique. Doesn't have to know a lot of technique, but he needs to know the basic technique so he can go out there, grab a guy, do a good setup, a good shot, to a good finish to score points. How do we pick up technique? All you guys know, number 1, the wrestler can go to summer camp. The wrestler can watch videos. The coach can watch videos. The coach shows his wrestler technique. And then you drill that technique over and over to where it becomes long-term muscle memory. And then all of a sudden that wrestler picks that technique up and starts to master that technique. So technically speaking, the technique aspect is crucial, and that's the first ingredient. Dan Gable. Dan Gable had a great quote. Love the quote. He said, in the off season is when my wrestlers pick up technique. During season, we wrestle. Love that. And I look at it in the off season. That's where I work with my wrestlers. We do a lot more drilling in the off season. Once season hits, we do nothing but go in there and go hard, and we live wrestle. Second ingredient I think that's very crucial. I don't have it anymore, but it is crucial for every program, I think, to reach, to help them reach their goal, is this. I don't have it. It's called horsepower. Strength is crucial. 2 days after our state tournament, we start lifting weights. We lift every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday, and we do it from 2 days after the state tournament all the way up until season starts. We do not miss. We do it consistently. If you want to get stronger, you got to come in the weight room, throw weights around, and you got to be consistent with it. And during season, once season starts, we actually go just for maintenance, just to try and maintain as much strength that we gained over the summer. It's hard to gain strength during season. Why? Guys are cutting weight. Plus, we're coming there, we're pounding hard every day. It's actually hard to get stronger, but we lift year round. And the time to get big and strong, of course, is the off season. Plus, I want to see my guys. A lot of times, as soon as season gets done, coaches tell their guys, hey, I'll see you next September. We start open mats, try to get to some camps this summer, and hey, make sure you lift. When my guys, I'm telling you, when you give guys more freedom, all right, and I call it more responsibility. Once season's done, they get all this free time. And I always worry that that's when my guys are going to get in trouble. If I see them 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, down at my office, and we're coming in throwing weights around, and I'm throwing the weights around with them, you know what? It's going to keep them focused on their goal, and it's going to give them a little less freedom. Let's get to the third aspect. The third aspect that I think is crucial, and it's the toughest to teach as a coach, is this right here. It's the attitude. Some people call it guts, some people call it heart, some people call it the will to win. It's the hardest thing. It's definitely the hardest thing to teach as a coach. The first 2 are easy. I mean, technique, I had it great. Technique, Dave Schultz was my college coach. He taught me technique. And he was the best technician, I'm convinced, in the world. And people still today, they watch his technique. And very fortunate to have Dave Schultz as my college coach. So technique was easy to figure out. Lifting's easy. It's just making that commitment with your team. All right, being there with them, lifting with them. Everyone can figure that out. Lift 3 times a week, get in the weight room, throw weights around, all different types of lifts to get stronger. But the key is just consistency. The hardest one to figure out is this last one. The mental edge, the attitude. What makes a guy with 10 seconds left in a match, he's down by a point. You can throw technique out, you can throw strength out. What makes a guy dig deeper than his opponent to get that takedown to win? My brother always had a great statement. He was a 2-time national champ at Wisconsin, and that statement was this: the amount of confidence you have is directly related to how hard you have worked. Let's say that again. The amount of confidence you have is directly related to how hard you've worked. I mean, think about it. The more important the goal becomes, the harder you're going to work. The harder you work, the more important the goal becomes. And all of a sudden, you get this snowball rolling down a hill, and it's gaining momentum, all on commitment. The more important the goal becomes, the harder I'm going to work. The harder I work, the more important the goal becomes. And the next thing you know, coaches, you got a guy that is hard to stop. Again, how do we get this attitude? We can figure out technique, we can figure out strength. Real simple. I read a story that shocked me, and it's about the mind and how important it is. It's a true story, and it shocked me. Oh, well, let's just get into the story. A psychiatrist brings a guy in to do an experiment on him. I tell this story a lot of times at my summer camp. But a psychiatrist brings a guy in to do an experiment on him. There's a chair, and then there's a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and then there's another chair. All right, psychiatrist sits down in one chair, tells the guy he's doing an experiment on, sit in the other chair. In the middle of that plywood, there's a hole in that piece of plywood. Psychiatrist tells the guy, put your arm through the hole in the plywood. Guy puts his arm through the hole. Psychiatrist wraps a towel around. The guy cannot see the psychiatrist. The only thing the psychiatrist can see on the guy is his arm. Psychiatrist picks up an ice cube. He starts rubbing it right here on the guy's forearm. As he's doing that, he keeps telling the guy over and over again, I'm slowly burning your arm. Hang tough. I'm slowly burning your arm. In this story that I was reading, the guy's going, doc, it's killing me. Doc, it's hurting. Hang tough. I'm slowly burning your arm. Did it for 8 or 10 minutes. Takes the ice cube, throws it away, takes the towel, wipes the little water spot off, and there's a big red circle there. Why? Because the ice cube was cold. He tells the guy, come back and see me tomorrow morning. And guys, this is what shocked me. The next morning, the guy comes in, psychiatrist grabs his wrist, turns his arm over. Right there where he was rubbing that ice cube was a blister. Now what you have to understand about this story is this. The ice, physiologically, cannot cause the blister. You know what happened? This psychiatrist convinced this man over here that he had some type of flame, some type of acid, something that was burning his arm in a blister form. You know where he convinced that guy? He convinced that guy right here. So the guy's body reacted. What does this have to do? How does this story correlate with you coaches? Real simple. Real simple. If a psychiatrist can convince some guy that he's burning his arm with a piece of ice in the blister form, coaches, think what you can convince your kids of doing. I am convinced, coaches, I am convinced that you are game changers with your kids. You can be game changers. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode 2, Wisdom on Wednesdays. Remember the 3 ingredients that I think make up, that really make that wrestler reach his potential. They are technique, they are strength, as well as the mental attitude. Thanks, coaches. We'll see you next week. Keep safe, keep training hard, and remember, Noah didn't wait for a ship to come in. He built one.